Hey guys, thanks for watching that video. Please like and subscribe to WanderLost Ventures, and I will try to continue to provide you good cinematic videos. Hopefully you guys like them. And I do want to give you some tips if you decide to visit Dachau. So Dachau concentration camp, or the memorial, it's a beautiful and very heartfelt place to go to. If you are an avid World War II fan like me, or if you go just on your own just to learn and understand the situation, what went on over there, it's a great place to go to just to take it all in, understand exactly what happened to the people there and the people who were affected by the Holocaust. So I do want to give you some tips and tricks if you do go there. I went in through Munich, and so from Munich it's just a short trip to Dachau. And so my first trip is definitely make sure that you plan your trip correctly to get there. We pretty much took the train to get there, which is a pretty easy trip. And then from the train station, we went to a bus stop area. And from the bus stop area, we pretty much took the bus. And it was about probably a 10 to 15 minute ride to the actual memorial site itself. So plan it out. It's very easy. A lot of people make that trip, but it's also a really important tourist site. And so there will be a lot of people there. So just plan accordingly. We went in the morning and pretty much spent about 4 hours there. So take your time. There's no limit, of course, until it closes, but it is an experience. I do think that you take the utmost time to understand and reflect and appreciate the situation. Tip number 2. So I do believe that there are guided tours if you would want to go there. We didn't do a guided tour. We did an audio tour. You can also go on your own. Don't get me wrong. That's not a problem. But we did an audio tour. And pretty much along the side of the memorial, there's different placards, or I remember different numbers. And you're given kind of like an audio system, and they play it in multiple languages. So it's definitely international for anyone who's willing to learn, who doesn't speak a certain language. But pretty much as you explore the different areas of the memorial, just click on the number and you can listen more about the site and exactly what you're looking at. It was pretty cool. I thought it kind of put the experience into perspective as you stand in that very specific site and you look at the placards and the information that's presented to you. It's a different way of really understanding and appreciating the important significance of what you were looking at. So take the audio tour. I definitely highly recommend it. It's only a few more euros, but it's worth it. So the most moving part, in my opinion, of the whole memorial was to go to the crematorium area. Now the crematorium area, it's not readily apparent when you do enter the memorial. You do enter. You'll see the main building, you'll see the barracks, you'll see a lot of aspects of the memorial which you'll be drawn to, but towards the back end is the crematorium area, and it's a large brick structure, and for me it was very poignant, it was very moving. I had seen images of this type of situation on TV, and to actually walk through it yourself, it's just I really don't think words can kind of express the feeling of what it's like to go through it. But I did walk in, and you could see where they do cremate individuals, and there's also like this low ceiling that you walk through, which were intended to be the gas chambers. So as you walk through it, you just kind of put yourself through what that person would have had to gone through to have been scared or to have been frightened, not knowing exactly what could have happened to you. As I read more about this specific concentration camp and this specific crematorium, it wasn't actually meant to be used to, to kill human beings for its real intended use. So, despite that, it's still a really kind of awe-inspiring kind of situation to actually go through it yourself. So when you do go through there, just be respectful, take your time, and just really kind of put yourself through what the person going through there might have gone through themselves. So definitely make sure that you go by that area to kind of experience it for yourself. When you do go to the memorial, and first and foremost, I do think it's amazing that they preserve the site or they preserved the actual concentration camp and converted it into memorial and really made it a great educational tool for people to experience and go through and see what it's like. And they've recreated a bunch of different aspects of the original camp. The original barracks aren't there, but you could see recreated barracks where they've built the beds. They've shown the restrooms as to what it would have been like to have used the facilities over there. So I think that the environment is just something that is it's very touching, and definitely puts you in the perspective of someone being there. You could see the barbed wire. You could see areas where people were shot or had gone through the most terrible experiences over there. So it's a very moving experience. Plus, you can also see the guard shacks, the guard towers, just looking at you in every direction. If I were an individual being there, I just felt like it could just feel so hopeless that you can't escape. And also when you enter, it's those famous words that we always see on the gates, which I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it, but Arbek mak free, or work sets you free. And you do, when you do walk in and you see those words, it just kind of puts a lot of things into perspective in terms of what was really enforced to people who were working in and living in that type of situation. So definitely just take it all in, and it's just a surreal experience to go through. For my tip number 5, I do want to make sure that you do catch the different religious memorials that are there on site. I visited 3, and you can see it through the video. They all kind of have different meanings, and they were designed by different architects, and they all have different purposes and different symbolisms. But I do recommend that you do check them out, and please have the utmost respect when you go through these memorials. So I do want to point out that there was a situation when I went through the Jewish memorial, and when you do go through it, it is, and if as you watch the video, it is dark. You can see the barbed wires, but there is a glimmer of light towards the end of the memorial. And when I was walking through there, I thought it was kind of cool because there was this young girl. There were a lot of school kids. It was, this is a very popular place to go to for educational purposes, for classes, from people speaking all different languages. But I saw this little girl. I didn't know if she can speak English or not, but then she was just wandering around, and we were the only ones in the Jewish memorial, and she was just reading the words, and I just felt that she knew the importance of what she was looking at, and the fact that I assume she was with these school kids, but she was kind of there on her own, walking on her own, and I don't know if she just had her own little moment there, just trying to understand and comprehend what was going on. But it was really cool to see just this little girl contemplating the symbolism and the magnitude of this memorial. There's also the Christian memorial that you definitely can't miss. It's centered in the 3 main memorials, along with the Russian Orthodox chapel. And so when you do go there, it's open, it's circular, and I think the feeling is different. I think when you go to the Jewish memorial, I think the feeling is meant to be it's probably a little, like, you could feel the feeling of suppression, or the feeling of being boggled down by the situation. I think in the Christian memorial, and you'll feel your own separate way from going into these memorials. This is just how I personally felt when I went in there. It was a bit lighter. It was some feeling of hope, some feelings of probably spirit of life. And I think because there's more opening for more light to go in through there. So I know all the architects have their own meanings and reasonings for why they designed the memorials, for why it ended up being the way it was. But yeah, the Christian memorial, it did feel inspiring, and just because it looked directly into the main building, and you went through the huge tree-lined alleyway, you can just see it straight ahead. It's just it's a really interesting feeling to kind of go through that memorial. Not to say that the memorials, one's better than the other. They're all just different. And so I also stopped by the Russian Orthodox Chapel afterwards. as I was making my way through there. So I definitely recommend you check out more. There were a few I didn't check out towards the back. There's a convent towards the back, as well as one more memorial. I apologize. There's one more memorial that I may have missed, and I do apologize. I meant the Protestant Church of Reconciliation. That's the last one that I did see, but I did not see the Russian Orthodox Chapel. My last point is that I am very hopeful. I think this experience, though it may feel dark or it may feel hopeless, I actually came out feeling more hopeful, because there were just tons of people there from all over the world, and it was great to see the type of responses. I'm sure everyone comes for different reasons. As I mentioned earlier in the video, there were a bunch of school kids over there, but I think it's great that our education system or our other schools, our professors are having children come there and the youth go there, so we never forget situations that happen. And so hopefully for this generation and the next generations, things like this don't ever happen again. And so I do come out feeling hopeful. I also do recognize that there are similar Holocausts happening all over the world. And so just because this specific instance is not occurring now doesn't mean that it's not occurring in other places in the world. So I do want people to be aware of what's going on, and let's try to do our best to make sure that there is hopefully an end to any types of mass killings all over the world. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the memories of the Holocaust have a special place in my heart and in my background and in my education in terms of what interests me. And I do recommend, if you ever get the chance, I used to live in Washington, D.C., to check out the National Holocaust Museum in Washington, D.C. It was probably the only museum where from start to end, from open to close, I've read every single word, and it's moving to kind of hear those experiences. And I just personally am fascinated and I'm captivated, and would just love to just learn as much as I can about this specific period. But going to Dachau, going to an actual concentration camp, it's just the feeling of actually being there does not compare to any other museum in the world. So I do recommend you go there, add it to your trip to Germany or while you're in Munich. It's definitely something I feel that the whole world should know about, and something that we should all kind of just take in, understand, and hopefully we can all prevent something like this from happening again. So thank you for watching my video. I hope you continue to watch more of my videos, and I hope you continue to live with the law, treat people with love and kindness. Thank you, everyone.